Kalm again, the bike, bringing another half-ass production, and we're dropping here at CHEIM in Reed to see an exhibition titled Reinventing Abstraction, New York Painting in the 1980s, and the show is curated by Raphael Rubinstein.
This is by Carroll Dunham, titled Horizontal Bands. And boy, it's really loud here tonight because the place is packed. Now this is kind of like the first work that I saw by Carroll long before he started doing his kind of penis-based men and all this other stuff. And this is on wood. Media on pine, 62 by 48 inches. This is another iconic piece by Terry Winters titled Point. Well, I just took a quick run through the show, and this is really like a trip down memory lane. As a young painter, I came to New York, and this is the kind of abstract work we were looking at. Now, I'm not sure, but I guess there were rumors that Terry was basing a lot of this on images of cells and biology illustrations, and a lot of his work that he's doing to this day is kind of based on scientific illustrations. Oil on linen, 102 by 69 inches. And these guys were, and gals were, really shaking up the art world at the time. It's a piece by Bill Jensen titled The Tempest, 1980 to 81. Was also a very, very important painter. He was one of the people that was working small, but a very impactful effect or an impactful influence on the young painters. I think he was in Barbara Rose's Painting of the 80s show. I think maybe the other thing that's great about the show is there are a lot of wonderful artists here. Oh, there's the curator right there, Raphael Rubinstein. David Dow. Jensen and Sharon Butler. Well, this large piece is by Pat Steir. It's titled Last Wave Painting. There's Sharon Butler. Last Wave Painting, Wave Becoming a Waterfall, 1987 to 88. It's 7 feet by 11 feet 6 inches. And I think that this could have been when she started to use a lot of her drippy, runny paint. She went into, and still is into, kind of a type of painting that is just using the drips, the rivulets. This is oil on canvas. This is a beautiful piece by Elizabeth Murray titled Sentimental Education. And Elizabeth Murray is maybe one of my top 3 or 4 painters of the 80s and the 90s and the early aughts. This is from 1982 and it's oil on canvas. 10 feet 7 inches by 96 inches, and this is one of her kind of combined shake canvases. Oh, this little blue and red form that's all kind of round and undular and scallop shapes against this black geometrical edgy shape. That's great. Because I'm a painter, I really love to see how these are fabricated and put together. And Elizabeth has such a great sense for her paint and her surface. Just lovely. This tall vertical piece is by David Reed. This is another cat that was very important to a lot of young painters and still is. It's titled Number 230 for Bikoff Fubi. This is oil and alkyd canvas. I think one of the interesting things about David and his work is I run around and I visit a lot of young artists' studios and go to the Bushwick Open Studios, and so I see a lot of painting and a lot of kids that are biting on David's stuff. Where it comes from. This is 1985-86. Wow, I was waiting for some ladies to get out of the way so we could take a look at this piece. This is Mary Heilmann, titled Rio Nido. I saw Mary drifting around in here a little while ago. And one of the things I like Mary because she's kind of, she's very tricky with her painting techniques. So this is great. We've got the green, blue, pink, and yellow, but what looks like a pink brushstroke is actually a solvent erase in this black form. Same with that. There's almost kind of a performative aspect to Mary's paintings. Oh, and those colors are so nice and hot. This is from 1987, 39 by 58 inches. piece by Jonathan Lasker. It's titled Double Play, 1987. Oil on linen. Oh, hey, there's Peter Frank. You can see that Jonathan hasn't gotten to quite his current level of thick paint, but you can see it starting to build up here. And he does have his kind of formalistic structure here with his pink bars. And even this flat yellow ochre background is visually brushed in there. Well, I get the feeling I'd better hurry through the back here because it's getting late. This is a very interesting and unexpected piece by Stanley Whitney. A lot of Stanley's recent work, it's kind of like bars or blocks of bars of solid colors. This is very nice. It's titled 16 Songs, 1984, Oil on Linen. And we still get Stanley's great punchy colors. Oh, hey, there's Fong Gui. This is Louise Fishman, titled Navigation, oil on linen, 25 by 22 inches. Now it's kind of a relationship between the knifed surfaces that Louise is using and what Bill Jensen was doing. Now I'm not sure, but at some point I know that Louise was doing a series of paintings that had ash in them. I wonder if this is part of that series. Oh, there's David Reed right there. This is a piece by Stephan Mueller, who just died. This is here, 2011. Part of the premise of the show was that this generation of artists, I guess born somewhere between 1936, 1946, 1948, had a very influential effect on abstract painting. This is titled Delphic Hymn. Zip in on this Thomas Nozkowski. It's untitled. And I think this is oil on canvas board. Thomas Nozkowski worked on nothing but canvas board for about 10 or 15 years, and they're all 16 by 20 inches. Anyway, I think that one of the reasons that this generation is looked upon as kind of important was not only were they doing a lot of experimenting, but kind of battling back philosophically and aesthetically against the hegemony of the minimalists and the conceptualists and the people that had said painting is dead. You had to be very courageous to sort of go back and pick up this morbid art form. Well, we'll pan over the final gallery here. So This is Untitled by Gary Stephan, 1985 to 88, acrylic on canvas. And earlier I was back here talking to some of my painter buddies, and Elizabeth Riley, young painter, said she was amazed by this work. She didn't know this whole body of work that Gary was doing back in the mid-'80s, but I said, wow, you've got a lot of great stuff to catch up on. And I think Gary has also been very influential through his teaching and many shows that he's had. It's a major piece by Joan Snyder titled Beanfield with Music. This piece is from 1984 and it's oil and acrylic on canvas, 6 by 12 feet. Now, I was also a big fan of Joan, partly because I just love her exuberance, but also I'm a big fan of the people that are using the physical properties of paint. Impasto, I think she just squeezed some of this right out of the tube. And I think that she's one of the people that's really carrying on the tradition of the abstract expressionists and other artists like Joan Mitchell. Shot of orange is nice. This is an interesting piece by Jack Whitten. It's titled Red, Black, and Green, 1979 and 1980. It's great. It looks like he kind of combed in the texture, and then these white lines are scraped in. And if I'm not mistaken, I saw this piece in a show at PS1 that was curated by Cecilia Alamani, I believe. It's wonderful. Acrylic and string on canvas, 64 by 64 inches. So there's the strings. Well, we finally caught up with the curator, the art critic and poet, Raphael Rubinstein. I'm going to make it short because I'm sure you're tired, but I know you wrote a great article about neo-expressionism, and that was all happening in the 80s. And now with this show, you're taking a look at the abstract painting in the 80s. What is it about the 80s that you think is worth people taking a sort of another look at and reevaluating?
The 80s, so why to do the show? Most versions, standard versions of the 1980s run like this. There's neo-expressionism, succeeded by neo-geo, succeeded by sort of pushback by conservative forces against contemporary art. And what happens is that there are many artists in the show who are quite well known, quite successful, but are left out of the standard histories by curators,
out of the canon.
Historians, out of the canon. So I felt like there was an untold history that needed to be presented in the show. David Reed, who's in the show, has a great concept of the street history of painting. This is the history that artists know when they talk to each other, when they meet each other.
That's right.
And I wanted to try to look back at what was the street history of painting in the 1980s and listen to what artists have to say. So this is one of the reasons. Another reason I did the show is that this is when I began looking at art and writing about art.
Yeah,
myself,
me too.
In 85, 86. So to go back to a period I actually lived through that's becoming historicized now, going back to it with more information, more objectivity, more experience.
And just the passage of time makes you see things differently.
It does. And I think there are a lot of young people who've never seen this work, or maybe in reproduction,
absolutely.
maybe not even in reproduction. There's so much amnesia, and there's such a crowded spectrum of art, and but to be confronted with the actual paintings again is something that needs to happen for people to understand what a particular moment was like. You can't get that from a magazine, you can't get that from a book. And Michael, thank you.
Absolutely. Well, the show looks fabulous. You've got some great pieces in here. This was like old home week for me, so thanks a lot, Raphael Rubinstein. And what was the name of your website again? Tell us your...
The Silo.
The Silo. Okay. Thanks, and congratulations, Raphael. It was a great show.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
So, this is James Kalm reporting on Reinventing Abstraction, New York painting in the 1980s. Here at CHEIM and Reed in Chelsea. Thank you, Kate. Whoa, Nature Boy. That was beautiful. Thank you.